Help me reach 6,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I used to think love faded quietly, like the sound of rain after a storm. You don't realize it's gone until you step outside and find the ground already dry. That's how it was with Emma. One morning, the warmth was just gone. We'd been married 10 years. I'm Daniel, 38, a civil engineer who still believes in routines and good coffee. Emma used to tease me for that. You treat mornings like math problems, she'd say, smiling as she'd steal my toast. Back then, even our small differences felt cute, like puzzles we'd learned to solve together. But somewhere between the years and the bills, something shifted. The laughter got shorter. The kisses felt scheduled. Our good nights became murmurs between phone screens. I didn't know when we stopped being partners and started being roommates. One night, after another dinner eaten in silence, I reached out to hold her hand across the table. She flinched, barely but enough. I asked gently, "What's wrong, Em?" Her eyes didn't move from her plate. "Nothing. I'm just tired." Tired. That word started showing up everywhere. Tired of work. Tired of talking. Tired of me, though she never said it out loud. A few weeks later, I tried again, a small moment before bed. She was scrolling through her phone, the glow of the screen cutting across her face. I leaned in, brushed her shoulder, whispered something dumb just to make her laugh. She didn't even look up. Then she said it, quietly like an afterthought. "I don't want to. Be grateful I'm still here." For a second, I thought I'd misheard. My hand froze halfway between us. She just rolled over and pulled the blanket tighter, her back a wall I couldn't climb. That sentence replayed in my head for days. Be grateful I'm still here. It wasn't anger in her voice, and then it was indifference. And that hurt more than anything. Anger means there's still something left to fight for. Indifference means it's already dead. At work, I'd stare at blueprints and find myself sketching the outline of her face in the margins. Every time I looked at those lines, I'd remember the woman who used to wait for me by the window, barefoot, humming along to the radio. Now she didn't even notice when I came home. I tried everything, flowers, dinner, even therapy suggestions. Each gesture landed flat. She'd nod, say thanks, and scroll away. Sometimes she'd sleep on the far edge of the bed, as if the inches between us were safer than touch. One Sunday morning I made pancakes, her favorite, with blueberries. She walked into the kitchen, hair messy, eyes half open. I smiled, trying to sound normal. "Thought I'd make breakfast." She poured coffee, didn't look at me. "You don't have to do that." "I wanted to," I said. She sat, sipped, and finally looked up. "You always want something, Dan. Just stop trying so hard. Stop trying." The words stung because they were true. I was trying hard, maybe too hard, to keep something she'd already let go of. But love isn't a faucet you can shut off just because it leaks. For weeks after that, the silence between us grew heavier. The house started feeling like a waiting room, two people pretending not to notice each other. When she laughed on the phone with her friends, I'd stand in the hallway catching fragments of her old self, wondering why she only sounded alive when I wasn't around. Then came the night she didn't come home until after midnight. No call, no text. I was sitting on the couch, the TV muted, my phone face up on the table like a question mark. When she walked in, her expression said everything, annoyance that I was awake. "Where were you?" I asked, trying to sound calm. "Out," she said flatly. "With coworkers." "Could have told me," she shrugged. "Didn't think you'd care that much." I looked at her, the woman I married, standing there in front of me, hair damp from the rain, perfume I didn't recognize. And I realized I was talking to a stranger wearing my wife's face. I wanted to shout, to ask who she'd become. But all I managed was a whisper. "I still care, Emma. Maybe that's the problem." She sighed, eyes heavy. "Daniel, not every touch means something. Not every silence is a fight. I'm here, okay? Isn't that enough?" And there it was again, the quiet knife of her words. Be grateful I'm still here. That night she fell asleep easily. I didn't. I lay awake listening to the rain, wondering when presence became a substitute for love. I didn't want her body next to me if her heart had already packed and left. By morning, she was gone, just a note on the counter. Gone to Mom's for a few days. Need space. Space. Another word that sounds harmless until it stretches wide enough to fit goodbye. The first night without her was too quiet. I'd gotten used to the sound of her moving through the house, the hum of the hairdryer, the clink of her coffee cup, the faint music from her phone. Now there was only the refrigerator's low buzz and the ticking clock. I tried to sleep, but every creak in the house reminded me she wasn't there. The next morning, I made 2 cups of coffee out of habit. I poured one down the sink and laughed at myself. It wasn't funny, but it felt better than breaking down. The days blurred. I went to work, came home, cooked for one. No calls, no messages from her. Just silence, the kind that stretches long enough to make you question what you did wrong. By the 5th day, I stopped waiting for her to text first. I sent her a short message. I hope you're okay. Take all the space you need. No reply. That weekend, I visited my brother Jason. He listened quietly as I told him everything, from the touch she rejected to the words that still echoed in my chest. When I finished, he leaned back and said, "Dan, you can't keep begging someone to see you. Love isn't a reward for effort." I wanted to argue, but I couldn't. He was right. I'd been treating our marriage like a project, something I could fix if I just worked harder. But people aren't blueprints. They don't stay straight just because you draw the lines right. 2 more weeks passed. I got used to the quiet. I even started sleeping better. The pain didn't disappear, but it dulled, like an old scar you stop noticing. Then one evening, as I was washing dishes, my phone rang. Her name lit up the screen. Emma. For a second, my hands froze. Then instinct took over. I wiped them dry and answered. "Hey," I said, trying to sound calm. There was a pause. I could hear her breathing, soft and uneven. "Hi," she finally said. "Did I wake you?" "It's 7, I said. "No, you didn't." Another pause. Then, "I've been thinking about you." That sentence hit harder than I expected. Not because it meant what it used to, but because of how late it came. "What about me?" I asked. "I don't know," she said. "Just everything." "The house feels empty. Mom keeps asking if I'm okay. I tell her yes, but..." She trailed off. I leaned against the counter, staring at the window. The reflection looking back at me wasn't the man she left, just someone quieter, steadier. "Emma, I don't hate you," I said softly, "but I can't keep being grateful for pieces of you. I need the whole thing or nothing." She sniffed, voice trembling. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I just needed space." Everything felt heavy. "I know," I said, "but you didn't just need space. You needed absence. There's a difference." Silence. Then quietly, "Can we meet?" I closed my eyes. Every part of me wanted to say yes, to grab the chance to make it right. But something deeper, something calmer whispered no. "Maybe," I said, "but not tonight." When we hung up, I sat there for a long time, phone still in my hand. She'd finally called, but not because she missed me. She called because she missed being missed. There's a difference, and I finally understood it. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't drink. I didn't scroll through old photos or reread her messages. I just stood by the window watching the rain slide down the glass and let the quiet stay quiet. The next morning, I packed a small bag. A few clothes, a book, my running shoes. I didn't know where I was going, just that I needed to move. The house wasn't home anymore. It was a museum of things that used to mean something. Before I left, I wrote her a note, the same counter she once left hers on. "Emma, you said to be grateful you're still here. But gratitude shouldn't come with conditions. You taught me that love without warmth is survival, not connection. I hope you find peace, oh real peace, not the kind that hides from feeling. Daniel." I locked the door behind me and dropped the key through the mail slot. The air outside smelled like rain and pavement, fresh, unfamiliar, almost forgiving. I didn't know if she'd read the note or if she'd ever call again. Maybe she would, maybe not. But for the first time in months, I wasn't waiting for her voice. I walked until my feet ached, until the city lights turned the sky amber. Somewhere along the way, I realized something simple. Maybe the end of love isn't the loss of someone else. Maybe it's the rediscovery of yourself, standing where you thought you'd fallen. So I kept walking, not away from her, but toward whatever came next, and if she ever calls again, maybe I'll answer, or maybe I won't. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say isn't "I still love you," it's "I finally love me."